And welcome to the Final Yard, the 5 Reasons Sports Miami Dolphins post-game show. I am your host, Louis Sung, and I will be joined soon or later by Hussam Patel, among some other folks. So before we get into what exactly happened this game, because as much as we want to say that everything was, just kind of a big mess, there were some positives to take from all this, believe it or not. So we're going to just jump right in and say thank you to our sponsor, ThriveFantasy. With Thrive, all you have to do is focus on the top-tier athletes, the ones that even the most casual of sports fans instantly know by name. Just choose 10 out of the available 20 players to build your lineup, and you can just choose the over, the under, and how likely they are to hit. And if you can choose the most props and rack up the most points, you'll win a share of the prize pool based on which contest you chose to enter, how much you chose to invest, all of that wonderful stuff. They've got plenty of money and prize money to hand out, so make sure you go ahead and join ThriveFantasy.com right now. The worst that can really happen realistically, unless you completely and utterly blow it, you're probably at the very least going to get your money back. So there's a plus for you. So go ahead, go to ThriveFantasy.com. Once again, it's ThriveFantasy.com. All right. So let's get this right. Let's get this over with right now. Tua Tagovailoa had an okay game. You could even argue he had a good game. He did not have a great game, and the fact that he didn't have a great game is why the Miami Dolphins are not the winners right now. And that's just the sad reality of it. The Tua Tagovailoa just threw for 4 touchdowns in a game. And yes, those 2 interceptions were a big part of what went wrong today, but those were not the only things that went wrong. So we have to be perfectly honest about that. Yes, those 2 picks were bad. But on the other hand, again, the defense did not do what they were supposed to do. If we're going to talk about how the defense is supposed to be the pride and joy of this football team, then you can't sit there and tell me that with 2 minutes left, they're going to let Kyle Pitts go 60 yards down on them in 2 plays and call it a game right then and there. I can't say that he had a bad game. Anybody who says he had a bad game is basically saying that I don't care about the 4 touchdowns. I don't care about the big plays on 3rd and 15 to Gesicki in the open field. I don't care about any of that. If you're saying he had a bad game, you're basically saying I don't care about anything else. I only see the bad stuff, and that's the only thing I care about, specifically when it comes to Tua. He is not the problem on this football team, and if you are coming in here to assume that Deshaun Watson will suddenly make this team look like an all-pro, world-beating football team, then I got news for you folks. I got a bridge that I can sell you. It's not going to happen. At best, he gives them a couple extra wins, but certainly not enough to make this football team look good. This defense is falling to pieces. This Dolphins offense is... It all depends on how much they get the ball to Mike Gesicki, because he was the real star of the show. Let's be honest about that. Every time with Mike Gesicki, they got the ball to him, good things happened. And with Myles Gaskin too, it's crazy. You get the ball to Myles Gaskin and good things happen with him too. So what does this boil down to? This boils down to whether or not you're willing to have the patience to let Tua have his growing pains. I can come up with many different quarterbacks who had an absolutely god-awful start to their career. I can once again point to Drew Brees. It took him 6 years to become the Drew Brees everybody wants. It took Josh Allen, Josh Allen, the best quarterback in football, Josh Allen that everybody loves so much. It took him 3 years to even look remotely decent. People in the Buffalo Bills fans wanted Josh Allen gone after year 2. So there's also that. You can look
Forgot about Peyton Manning too.
Peyton Manning looked god-awful in his first year. Dan Marino didn't look like Dan Marino until year 2. So I'm not even going to come out here and say that, there's hope for this season. There is no hope for this season. There hasn't been hope for this season since after that Patriots game, if we're being dead honest. I talked about the style points, and that was what I was talking about. This team has no style. But if I say hope, it's only because there is hope with a quarterback position. Tua Tagovailoa, if he stays, which at this point I'm doubtful on, because Stephen Ross and Chris Greer and Brian Flores are about to pull the biggest desperation move ever. And I, for one, think it's going to come back and bite them in the butt. So Tua, wherever he goes, is going to be a superstar for whatever team wants to be patient with him. That's just how it's going to be. That's just how it's going to be.
It's basically a roller coaster experience with this Miami Dolphins team. You think they're going to come back, and then they lose 2 straight games on game-ending field goals.
No, I knew they were. No, Hussam,
I did too.
I knew they were going to blow it. I knew the defense was going to blow it. I knew they wouldn't hold them. I knew they wouldn't, because they haven't been able to hold them all game.
And then the time wasn't on the Dolphins' side either for this. Like in the beginning, it looked like Tua was going to be the reason that they lost. Now, finally, you get into the fourth quarter. Tua is dealing, and, he's making up for his miscues. He goes, scores that touchdown to help that defense out to get those stops. And, well, they blow it. They blow it by giving up a 30-yard pass to Kyle Pitts over the middle, and you can't even be freaking aggressive at all in the fourth quarter. Like, you just generally want to play soft coverage overall. Like, come on, do something. Pressure Matt Ryan. He's been scrambling out of the pocket all day. Pressure him, sack him, do something. You hold Kyle Pitts down in double coverage with Xavier Howard, Javon Holland, Devin McCourty, Eric Rowe. You can double, triple team him as well. Like, do something. Do something. Don't just, flail, be in soft coverage, cover 2, cover 3.
If I were the Miami Dolphins, I'm being dead serious right now. If I were the Miami Dolphins, I would have gone into like a man coverage version of prevent defense. Just put everybody back there in coverage and let Matt Ryan like scramble around, try to look for somebody who's open or something, because that's what ultimately did it. You notice that on that last play where Matt Ryan fumbled the football and they were able to pick it up, they did not send everybody on a blitz. They did not come after Matt Ryan that way. They let the coverage do their job. Matt Ryan was looking forever and a half, couldn't find anybody, and that's when things went wrong for him. Every time they come on a blitz, there's always going to be somebody wide open, and a smart quarterback, any half-decent quarterback, will be able to see the guy and say, oh, there's the wide open guy right there.
And, not only that, we want to talk about how Tua led this team back, but you also got to talk about those 2 back-breaking interceptions.
There's no question that was bad.
You have to live with those growing pains. You have to live with those growing pains with a quarterback who's played in the NFL for only 12 games. Mind you this, 12 games of NFL playing experience. You can, count preseason too. You can't even really count preseason either, because that's not a real NFL game. He's had 12 games. Majority of the time last season, he was hurt, coming off of rehab. Now he's coming off of broken ribs, and he's playing like this with everything against him on the mental and physical side. Now, do I think he'll be successful in the NFL? I do think. I just don't know if it's going to be with this team right here.
It won't be. I'm really convinced that it won't be. They'll go get Deshaun Watson. He'll go to jail later because somebody found him guilty. And that's just going to be what happens with these Dolphins, because that's what happens. The Dolphins always do the thing that they shouldn't do. They always do the thing that they shouldn't do, one way or another. So I've reached the point where I don't want to hear, and I wanted Kyle Pitts. Everybody knows on record that I wanted Kyle Pitts with my first move. That was what I
didn't want Kyle Pitts. I didn't want Kyle Pitts, and I'll say it as it is. Like, I wanted either a Devonta Smith, a Jamar Chase, or a Jalen Waddle. Simple as that. Just to give.
Well, we got Jalen Waddle, and Jalen Waddle has been productive. He really has. It's just that
he's not being used right.
This offense can't use him the way he needs to be used. If you want to go deep. You want to go deep down the field. You have to be able to protect your guy. That 3rd and 15 to Mike Gesicki in the seam. There was time for Tua to throw the football. He didn't have to get rid of it 2 seconds into his play. He was able to sit there for a minute, wait for him to get there. Boom, got it to him. That's it. That's all you had to do. This offensive line is the make or break reason the Dolphins win or fail. And it's the make or break reason why Tua fails. If Tua does badly, the only one I can truly pin down on him was that Durham Smythe interception in the end zone. That I can pin down on him. But
well, then again, why do you have Durham Smythe running a post corner and into double coverage? Just personnel moves have been god awful.
I'm not going to give that. I'm not going to put that on Smythe. I mean, you could argue that it should have been Gesicki, and I agree with that, but that was on Tua. Tua should not have thrown it there. He had another guy wide open. Jalen Waddle was crossing across the middle. You could have gotten it to him. But that second interception where Tua's falling down and he's trying to get rid of the ball so he doesn't take the sack, that Austin Jackson missed again. It's not even that, he's getting beat. He missed. He sets up the block, and then he's like, where's my guy? Why am I not blocking anybody? Because you missed, you moron. You missed. Twice, at least.
Like, well, if you want to get something positive out of this, Isaiah Ford finally scored a touchdown with the Dolphins.
No, they scored. Tua threw for 4 touchdown passes. That's something you can't ignore.
Isaiah Ford finally caught a touchdown. How long have we been waiting for Isaiah Ford to grab a touchdown pass.
I don't care. I don't really particularly care who it was. I've reached the point, and now they're showing Deshaun Watson highlights on the screen because they're basically talking about it as if it's already a done deal. I am so sick of the Deshaun Watson stuff, and I've already made my point clear. If Deshaun Watson becomes a Miami Dolphin, I'm just going to be a cold-hearted reporter. I don't care about this team anymore.
Speaking about this, I mean, I fully think that the Dolphins are just in it just to see what kind of compensation it's going to take to get Deshaun Watson. I don't think that the Dolphins will bite on it. And I do think that
you really don't think the
Watson
trade
is
happens?
traded, I think he's going to be traded to the Panthers or the Broncos. Because the Panthers and the Broncos already have a team built to win. They just need a quarterback. The Dolphins, however, on the other hand, they have many, many holes. Now, you can say Deshaun Watson masked those deficiencies, but how much do you expect a quarterback to carry your team with a god-awful defense like
Elite
this?
quarterbacks have carried NFL teams for years. It's just never gotten anywhere worth noting because when you have all the holes, eventually you can't mask them anymore. You have to have a complete team to win the Super Bowl. And if that's the goal, then I got news for you. Deshaun Watson's not enough. Because Deshaun Watson wasn't enough in Houston.
We're so bad that Atlanta couldn't even successfully blow their lead. That's how bad we are. That's how, like, you can't defend this. I can't defend this. You can't defend this. Just it's god awful. It's god awful. It's just so hard to even fathom all of this because you had all those picks, you had those assets, you signed the people you wanted to sign, and all else just fails. It comes down to, of course, execution. It comes down to coaching. It comes down to play calling. But just it feels like we're the 2015 Cleveland Browns right now that just filled on their 3 first-round picks that can't get anything right. Maybe, I mean, look, the Cleveland Browns did in the end collect draft capital and assets and got their guys later on. Maybe that's something the Dolphins could possibly do if they do tend to blow it up, if they decide to do that and Chris Greer moves on and the Dolphins potentially get another head coach, another rebuild type of season.
This is the reality of it. This is really what it's all about. Are you willing to wait for Tua Tagovailoa to become that guy? If you're not, then go get Deshaun Watson and go be happy for however many years he's going to be there before he gets himself in jail, because it's very unlikely that he's going to not do something stupid again if he got caught for that. Again, this is 22 sexual misconduct charges. And I don't care that he hasn't been found guilty of any of them yet. 22. It's not 1. It's not 2. It's 22. This guy has a problem. And either everybody in the whole world has come together all at once to say, oh, yeah, he's totally a horrible person, which I find unlikely. There has to be – they always talk about how where there's smoke, there's fire. Well, how come it doesn't apply to this situation? How come we have to just accept that all of this is one big horrible lie and that Deshaun Watson's character has been dragged through the mud, and it's all based on what? On what? If it was all about money, they would have paid the money to them already and said, okay, fine, just get out of our hair. But no, they're dragging this whole thing out because they're actually investigating to see if there's something going on. If this was about money, it would have been settled already. Done. Issue over. So, but this is because it's a real thing. It's a real thing. And that's why I can't support the Watson trade. It would have made more sense. And I remember arguing about this on Onside Radio with Juan. Juan was all gung-ho on the Deshaun Watson stuff. And at the time, I called him out on it because it's like I didn't want to throw away Tua just because he wasn't elite in his first rookie year. But that was before. That was before all this came out. So it makes even less sense now to go get Deshaun Watson. Because now not only are you talking about giving up on your second-year quarterback, who, by the way, has shown traits and signs of being good, it's just not good enough yet. Not only that, now you're basically willing to say all those 22 charges, we don't care. We don't care.
So let me ask you this, Lewis. If the trade doesn't happen, Miami sticks with Tua for this season and maybe for the future. You gotta like the way Tua was trying to fit balls into those tight windows, especially in that red zone pick that was supposed to go to Durham Smythe. One of the things we wanted to see from his development was being less risk averse and trusting his eyes and his arms. And he's trying to do that. He tried to fit those balls into places he probably shouldn't have, but it's a step in the right direction. Failing at something is the first step to being kind of good at something. But then you take a look at the Waddle pick where Austin Jackson is just completely beat and Tua's not trying to get killed. So he just throws the ball and it was just bad decision making. It was too fast.
He didn't want to take the sack. He didn't want to take the sack, and he got punished for it. But
it was too much for him to process at that time. And look, it's still a learning experience for him. He's 12 games in.
Nobody wants to wait for him to learn. Nobody wants to
He's
wait for him
12 games in.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Last season, Justin Herbert had a couple of back-breaking interceptions too, but he learned from it. He knows what to do. He knows his playmakers. He's comfortable in his offense in 1 year with his playmakers already. Even though it is a new offense, he has the same playmakers. He has better offensive line, and he has continuity with those players. Tua doesn't. He doesn't have continuity in that offense. He doesn't have continuity with his offensive line. His wide receivers, they lead the league in drops. I believe it's 29 drops over the last 7 games.
I don't know the exact number, but it's always just going to come back to excuses, though. It's always just going to come back to excuses. This is what's going to happen. Every time somebody says that Tua did this thing good, we're basically going to say that, oh, well, Tua, you're ignoring the fact that Tua did the 2 interceptions. No, I am not ignoring those interceptions. I just came out straight up and just said that Durham Smythe interception, no one is to blame for that except for Tua. Literally no one is to blame except for Tua. That's all on him. The second one, I can say that, yes, it was on him, but also Austin Jackson doing what Austin Jackson does and how this coaching staff can continue to put him out there to get wrecked over and over and over and over again. I don't understand that.
So I just
that a part of it.
I know that last touchdown to Russell Gage where Howard and Javon Holland were trailing each other, and it was a deep third play from what it looks like. I have to go back and watch the all 22. And people were saying that Howard gave up on that play and Holland was doing his best to keep up with Russell Gage. But they failed to understand the conceptual behind it, where Howard, he has to play his deep third and he's running with this man. Holland is there to help provide over-the-top help, but Holland is not the best deep third safety. He's good in man coverage. He's good in cover 2. But cover 3 and you ask him to play in deep third, he doesn't have that experience. And that is also a growing pain with Javon Holland. You're going to have growing pains with these young guys. You have to live with it. How else will they learn? You can't expect everybody to be perfect right off the bat. You can't do that. And look, I said it in my pre-draft evaluation of Javon Holland. He's not a middleman guy. And that's why I had Trevon Moreg from TCU, who's now with the Raiders, as my safety number 1. And I expected the Dolphins to target Moreg because they needed a deep third safety, a kind of like a Bobby McCain, how he played last season. But Holland's going to live in and learn. He's going to be a good player. He's going to learn from this, and he's going to get better from it. And
he already forced a fumble. Javon Holland is good, but the problem is that yes, you're correct. You're correct. It comes down to these young players being inexperienced and making mental miscues. I wrote this column earlier this week. I wrote this column about how the Dolphins have no veteran presence on this football team. McCourty is the only one, along with Jesse Davis and John Jenkins. John Jenkins has not necessarily been a great player. Like he's not somebody that you can look at and say that, you know what, I have really a lot to learn from John Jenkins. John Jenkins is a role player. He's a nose tackle. He's a run stuffer, but he's not somebody that I'm counting on to like teach the next generation of defensive linemen. Jesse Davis is bad. I don't want Jesse Davis teaching my players. I really don't. The only one who has anything to offer is Jason McCourty. And by the way, this is Jason McCourty's first year as a safety. He was normally a cornerback. So who is he really teaching? Like he's learning the position too. if we're being dead honest. He's learning how to play safety because he's normally a corner. He's been a corner all his career.
He played safety his freshman year, and he did okay, but he was primarily a slot corner.
He was a
in his
cornerback.
sophomore and junior season.
Devin McCourty
he didn't play
was
his
the
junior
safety.
season.
Devin was the safety.
In the press conference right now, Flores on Tua's performance. That's what you're looking for in a quarterback. He put us in position to win. That's all you can ask for.
Yeah,
that's great. But did you put your defensive players in a position to win against Kyle Pitts, Russell Gage, Calvin Ridley in that 2 minute?
I will go down with this ship. I will go down with this ship. If Miami had not dumped all their veteran talent, all of their veteran, knowledgeable, seasoned players, Miami would not be in this mess. Because what we are witnessing right now,
they're not putting it together. They're not putting it together. And Flores just said that with the veteran guys and the experience, like if you had a Kyle Van Noy, Eric Flowers, a Bobby McCain, they'd know what to do in these situations. They've been in this league for a combined,
and that doesn't mean they'd be perfect, by the way. This doesn't mean they'd be perfect.
They wouldn't be perfect, but they would know what to do.
Correct.
They'd be proactive instead of being reactive.
It's like, that's what I will go down with this ship. Veteran leadership is needed. I did the research when I wrote my column. I'm going to pull it up now just to make sure that everybody understands that where I'm coming from, because I had people telling me that Miami has veterans. They have Byron Jones. They have Xavier Howard. They have this guy. Those guys are still in their prime. They're still trying to improve themselves. Older guys like McCourty are not necessarily looking to make sure that they are the best player on the football field. They're getting ready to reach the point in their careers where the best way that they have value is teaching what they have and pass it down to the next generation so that they have some kind of value on this team. I'm going to pull it up for you guys right now, just so you kind of have an idea.
You want to put this on the bingo card, Lewis? Brian Flores just said it's all on me.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Put it on the bingo card.
It's all on him. Yeah, of course it's all on him. It is, but that's besides the point. So I'm just going to do this right now, giving everybody a little search in on my column here and what research I found. Most, if not all, of the best teams right now in the NFL have incredible veteran presence, not only on the roster, but on the coaching staff as well. Let's take a look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Take a look at the Bengals. Take a look at the Bengals too. I'm going to steamroll the Ravens. They
steamrolled the Ravens, yes. So I need to look at the Bengals because I didn't look at them for teams that have a lot of veteran presence on it. So I have to take a look at that. But I'm just going to give you the teams that I actually put in the column. I have to look for more. But Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they had Bruce Arians, the oldest coach in NFL history to win a Super Bowl. Do you know how many players they have over the age of 30, including practice squad and on injured reserve?
27, 28. I want to say more than half the team.
They have 20 players that are over the age of 30. 30. The key number there is 30. They're over the age of 30. Tom Brady's 44. They have Ndamukong Suh is 34. Richard Sherman is 33. Antonio Brown is 33. Jason Pierre-Paul is 32. Levante David is 31. Ryan Jensen is 30. All these old guys got together and won a Super Bowl together. They did. They all got together and said, you know what? We're not washed up. We're going to go win a Super Bowl. And they did. Yes, Tom Brady was there, and that makes a huge difference. But if you need like young, incredible, super powerful athlete kind of player,
and look, you prove your point. I mean, you can have like a fantastic team full of talent, but if you don't have an excellent coaching staff, it really does not matter. And I'm looking at the Bengals right now. Defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo, who's been a defensive backs coach with the Miami Dolphins. He has 10 years of experience.
No, I'm not even going there. I'm not even going there, Hussam. It's not even about the coaching staff for me because you know the Arizona Cardinals? Cliff Kingsbury is not a longtime NFL coach. He's not.
He built the staff. He built the staff.
He has Todd Bowles as his defensive coordinator.
Bowles was on the Cardinals before he left to the Buccaneers.
Okay, yeah, he went to the Bucs. So who's the defensive coordinator now over there?
Let me go ahead and check that out while you keep.
Is it Vance Joseph? No, it's not Vance Joseph. Vance Joseph is in Denver. No, he's not in Denver.
Vance Joseph is in Denver with Vic Fangio, and Broncos fans are.
Let me look at that up. Let me look it up again. Arizona Cardinals coaching staff. Who's the defensive coordinator over there? Defensive coordinator.
You have Vance Joseph. 16
That is
years.
Vance Joseph. I was
It
right.
is Vance Joseph.
So it is Vance Joseph. Okay. And his offensive coordinator is Byron Leftwich. They're not like super experienced coaches, but the Arizona Cardinals have 18 players over the age of 30 years old. Chandler Jones is one of the highlighters. Kelvin Beachum is an offensive tackle. He's 32. JJ Watt is over there now. He's 32. AJ Green is 33. These guys are not superstar football players anymore.
The wide receivers coach, 16 years.
But it's not even about that, though, Hussam. It's not even like Mike McCarthy has been in the league for a very, very long time. I don't consider him an elite NFL coach. I really don't. I really, really don't. But Dan Quinn,
he has experience.
He has experience, but he has experience. But that's not all it is. He brought in Dan Quinn, who is known for his ability to be a defensive coordinator. That's how he got hired as a head coach in the first place. He brought him in to take care of the defense. And by the way, the Dallas Cowboys, they have a bunch of players. They have 8 players over 30. Tyron Smith he's 30 years old. Zach Martin is 30 years old. So that offensive line has some good veterans on there, and they are pretty darn good. Buffalo Bills have 9 players over the age of 30. Los Angeles Chargers have 10 players over the age of 30. Green Bay Packers have 8 players over the age of 30. And once again, I come back to this. Miami has 3 guys over the age of 30. So they have no real veteran leadership. They have no veteran leadership on the coaching staff because Brian Flores is not a veteran head coach. George
and on the defensive side of the ball, they're in their third, maybe like second, third, and fourth year.
Most of these players are on their third year. This is it's ridiculous.
Even the staff. I mean, you can go ahead, talk about it. I know I'm getting killed in the comments, growing pains, blah blah blah, making excuses.
Yeah, and everybody, exactly. It's
true. It's true. I mean, not everybody off the bat is going to be like that. Not everybody's going to be like Patrick Mahomes.
And by the way, Patrick Mahomes, he got himself a beating today, like physically.
That is a very rare anomaly.
Yeah, he got himself. Yeah, I know it's an anomaly, and he was not feeling 100%, and I get all that. But every time, like somebody has a bad game, we call it a fluke. Whenever somebody in Miami has a bad game, we call it the norm. Why can't it just be what it is? It was growing pains. Like Josh Allen. Like I know that Juan brought it up in the Dolphins chat for 5 reasons. Is that Josh Allen was awful in his first and second year, but he still made it to the playoffs. Okay, well he was still awful. So they made it to the playoffs.
He had a really good defensive team too, and the Miami Dolphins were 1 game away from making the playoffs last season. Let's not forget that.
Josh Allen was terrible in years 1 and 2, and everybody thought he was the worst thing that they had ever happened to Buffalo. Nobody's saying that now. It took those growing pains that everybody says are excuses, and he became a superstar quarterback. He had all the tools. It just takes a while for those tools to get worn in. Tua had a decent game. I'm not taking away the 2 interceptions. Those pretty much ruined a lot of stuff. But at the same time, Miami did have the lead with 2 minutes left, and it's because Tua and Mike Gesicki came together and said, "We're gonna win this thing," and they got the lead. So you can't take that away from him. You can't.
And I see Nick Hernandez in the comments right now speaking about why do we keep firing all of our offensive coaches? It's just growing pains, and you can't fire coaches because they too have growing pains. Coaches are supposed to coach. They're supposed to be experienced. They're supposed to know the game in and out. They're supposed to know their players in and out. That's not an excuse for the coaching staff. They're supposed to know what they're talking about. They're supposed to put their players in the best position to succeed, but they're not. And I said this when I started with Ethan just this past Tuesday when he brought me onto his show. It speaks to a level of hubris that this coaching staff decided that we don't need veterans to win. We can do it on our own. That's where arrogance. That is where he made his wrong. That is where he made his biggest mistake. That right there is the biggest mistake. Flores said that I'm good enough. And this coaching staff, as inexperienced as it is good enough to take all these young bucks and say that we're going to coach them up and make them the best team in football. That is arrogance and pride like you would not believe. And I have reached the point where this is why he's going to get fired. And it's the same reason that Adam Gase got fired too. It's because he thinks that he can handle it and that he doesn't need help. You know what's so crazy right now, Louis? Gilbrand, arguably one of the godfathers.
Oh no, I responded to that.
Managers.
I responded to that one. Yeah,
He literally just said, "I would not trade Tua for the Houston quarterback."
I wouldn't either. I really wouldn't. But again, it's not up to us, is it? It's up to the very incredibly desperate coaching staff, which is Brian Flores and also GM Chris Greer, who is also desperate to save his job. Deshaun Watson makes a lot of people happy. He also makes a lot of people unhappy.
And so, just if you want to talk about Tua Tagovailoa from a player's perspective, Manny, if you're able to put this tweet up from Howitz, but Mike Gesicki just says on Tua, he's the same guy. He never gets too high or too low. He's confident. He goes out there and executes at high level. I love playing with him. He bounced back great, played a hell of a game. You can go on and on and on, especially with the bounce back. He made those mistakes. He learned from them. He bounced back, put together a couple of good drives to help try and have the Dolphins come back and win this game. Ultimately, they fell short towards the end.
And that's where this boils down to. I believe that the fact that they refuse to bring in any veteran voices is what will end this team. That is what's going to cause this regime to fail. And that's what's going to cause them to push the Deshaun Watson button, is that we'll just bring in this guy and all our problems will be over. No, your problems are not going to be over. They're still there. They're just not going to be as obvious.
Just a quick update on the Houston quarterback update. Joe Person, who's reports for the Carolina Panthers from The Athletic, just said the league and team sources expect the Panthers to be involved in the Deshaun Watson trade talks.
Yeah, they've been talking about a 3-way trade or some nonsense like that. So basically, the Panthers will get somebody, and then the Panthers will send somebody to Houston, and then Miami will send stuff to. Then Miami's going to send stuff to them, and whatever. But ultimately, it's going to end with Deshaun Watson in Miami. So they're going to pretend that fixes all their problems. No,
I just want to ask you this question. I know we played the Jaguars and I know we played the Falcons, who arguably don't have the best defense, but behind this offensive line, Tua looked pretty decent. I mean, the offensive line looked okay. It looked okay, but he was able to get the ball out quick. He was able to, make a couple of plays with his legs, move out of the pocket, gain some yards as well. So do you, even though it's against the Jaguars and the Falcons, do you think Tua elevates this offensive line so far?
I mean, he does a lot more than Jacoby Brissett does, so I guess it depends on how much you think he actually elevates it. The fact of the matter is that if you put a real pass rusher out there, Tua's going to have to make his decisions a heck of a lot faster, and that's been the problem. Like all the big plays that happened today. All the big plays that happened today, except for this one that they're showing right now, was a dump off to Savon Ahmed. And somehow, some way, Austin Jackson actually made a pancake block on that thing. I was like, oh, they're not going to call him for being illegible downfield or some nonsense like that. I'm surprised. I'm shocked. I'm truly shocked. All the big plays that happened today, Tua had more than 3 seconds to throw the ball. He had some time to survey the field, look around, boom, got it to where he was trying to get it to. Those are all the big plays of the game. When I say big play, I'm talking about plays that are like over 10 yards, because that's what everybody's complaining about.
And Drew Rosenhaus has been pounding the table for the Dolphins to get Watson. And he's not even his agent. He's talking through a couple of other agents to drive his price up a little bit. And his advice to the Dolphins on a Fox 7 post game with Josh Mosier: go get Watson. Do what it takes. This franchise needs him. But if you go ahead, take a look at the Panthers and the Broncos' ineptitude at quarterback. It has raised the price, but the Panthers and the Broncos are a quarterback away from winning. Seriously.
I would argue, Hussam, that if Miami had put some veterans on this offensive line, this team would not be 1-6. They might not be 6-1.
And imagine, look, if you take a look at how Orlando Brown played with the Chiefs today in an up-tempo RPO type of offense, and they were running the ball decently. If Miami had tried to trade for Orlando Brown to really lock up that left tackle position, you put Liam Eichenberg to right tackle or left guard, wherever you want to play him, wherever this coaching staff wants to play him, besides his natural position, it would have worked. It would have worked. You would have locked up that left side. Maybe Solomon Kinley would have been playing a little bit better. maybe Austin Jackson would have been elevated by the play of Orlando Brown and his playing experience and learned a little bit from him. But again, these are all ifs, buts, and hypotheticals.
I don't really think it's a hypothetical, Hussam. I really don't. I put the facts right in front of you. All these teams that have like super incredible wins. Yes, they have good quarterbacks, but you know what else they have? They have veteran leadership. Kyler Murray is not a long-time NFL quarterback. Some were even arguing, is Kyler Murray the guy not too long ago? But they're undefeated. They're undefeated as of right now.
It's honestly going to be a fun week of reports. It's going to be a fun week of reports.
I'm not finding it very fun. I'm really not. Well, of course not. I am miserable as all get out.
Well, we have a week and 2 days until the trade deadlines, and we play the Bills coming off of a bye on Halloween. I don't know if it can get any more scarier than that.
So it boils down to this now, Hussam, and we'll end it with this because I know that you got to get going. But let's say they do trade for Deshaun Watson, which honestly I'm expecting at this point. This season is still over. What are you playing for at this point?
Development.
For who?
Development.
Who are you developing?
You're developing your offensive line. You're developing your Jalen Waddle. You're trying to develop Jalen Phillips into hoping what he can be. You're trying to develop Javon Holland. You're trying to you put Noah Igbenogany in and see what he has. Okay,
but doesn't trading for Deshaun Watson imply that you're not about development anymore and that you're still trying to win right now? What does Deshaun Watson doesn't need any development. All he does, excuse me, all he does is hide the fact that a lot of players suck. So if that's the case, then you're still trying to save your job. So regardless of whether you trade for Deshaun Watson or not, like whose job is he saving? Because if the problem is still that he is not good, that the team is not good, or I should say the team is not good.
Well, a reporter just asked Tua on the Watson trade reports, and he just said he hears it, but he's not really focused on it.
Well, of course
he's definitely focused on it. Like, these questions are a little bit unnecessary. Like, it's just the mental makeup of the quarterback. Like, he's getting distracted by it. The entire team is getting distracted by it. The organization is getting distracted by it too. And lo and behold, the Dolphins don't even trade for Deshaun Watson. What is that whole story going to entail? You basically let it go on, you let it pile on, only for you to not trade for Deshaun Watson. You're at a 1-6 or 1-7 hole, and the season is completely lost. Now what do you do? Who's going to be held accountable for this?
It should be Brian Flores and Chris Greer. And Miami, and I said this before, so many people called me on the carpet for it. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull this up because I want to go ahead and make the point one more time. So, and everybody's going to call me out, and everybody's going to call me an idiot, and everybody's going to call me a moron, and all those things that everybody loves to call me whenever I say stuff like this, but I'm going to do it anyway. If I am the Miami Dolphins and I'm looking for a brand new head coach, one with experience and one who does have a record of winning in the NFL, and when I say winning, I don't necessarily mean playoffs. I just mean that they managed to get somewhere. I am calling Marvin Lewis, and I'm saying we're going to give you another shot at being a head coach. And why Marvin Lewis? Because 2012 to 2015, he went 10-6, 11-5, 10-5 with one tie, and 12-4. That's with Andy freaking Dalton as his starting quarterback. You know, that same Andy Dalton that lost his job already and couldn't handle it because he's not good. That Andy Dalton. And he went 4 straight years that way. No, he didn't get it done in the playoffs. But right now, we're not even talking even remotely about playoffs. Okay, Manny, go ahead. I know you want to talk about something.
Towards the last couple of years of Marvin's tenure with the Bengals, he did have a lot to say as a general manager.
Okay, well, I don't need him.
I'm just saying he had that leverage. Maybe that's not something that Ross wants. How is that?
You know who you can get, and you know who you can get? Tony Dungy. Bring that man out of retirement. He knows how to build a team. He's a proven winner. He's a proven Super Bowl winner.
No, he had Peyton Manning though. Like if I'm looking at a quarter. With Marvin Lewis, I'm looking at a coach who had Andy Dalton and won. Okay, that's what I'm looking at.
Listen, I'm thinking more like Tony when he was with Tampa, and I understand he could never win the Super Bowl, but John Gruden was handed a pretty badass team, and it was all because of Tony Dungy. So I'm just saying, and I understand, Lewis. That was back in 2001. Jesus Christ, we're going back 20 years.
For the people
it seems like for this team to have a fucking direction. But again, Marvin Lewis sounds great, but this is a man that comes already with experience and with a lot of respect around the league. He's not going to want to have a Chris Greer next to him, man, telling him, listen, we're going to go with this and you're going to work with it. Okay, yes, sir. No, that's not going to work.
Well, I mean, that's not what they have right now. Brian Flores is not Chris Greer's flunky. He's there.
But I'm sure Brian Flores is his yes man, dude. I'm pretty sure that's – come on, man.
So are you saying that Flores is being hampered by Greer? Are you saying that Flores deserves another chance?
Again,
with his own decisions?
Last year, Flo was working without getting – pressured and chained. Hey, go out there, make stuff happen. Let's see what you can do. This season, all of a sudden, it was do not crash the bus. What ends up happening? Flat tire, radiator doesn't work. Your brakes all of a sudden don't stop at a stop sign. It's just going crazy, right? And there's just so many patches that a mechanic, Flo, can actually stop from bleeding. Okay, I'm not saying it's his fault. Obviously, he's the head coach, right? But how the hell is it his fault when his team is committing stupid penalties? And I understand
that's because he's the head coach. It's his job to stop them from doing it.
But he's not on the field, man. Like,
it's Manny. For the first 2 years, they were one of the least penalized teams in football, and now all of a sudden,
so you mean to tell me that all of a sudden
changed?
This year he can't give this team direction because they're undisciplined? How the hell is that his fault? If he taught this team to be disciplined last season, you can't tell me that changes from one year to the next.
Bye, Hussam. Thank you.
Bye, guys. See you guys next week for the Final Yard.
I'm not going to be here.
Manny, you're mine. All right, listen. This is because this is the reason I blame Flores for this. It's because, again, he did it for the first 2 years just fine, but he had veteran. I mean, I don't even want to say veteran because Chad O'Shea is no veteran. But he had guys. No, Patrick Graham. He was a pretty darn good veteran as a defensive coordinator.
It just feels like in the key positions where you need at least that leadership is not there.
It's not
line, there. Maybe in the wide receiver position. Hey, guys, catch the damn football. Let's just. I don't know anymore.
You need veteran guys.
I'm more of a Dolphin fan to see guys like you and Donald actually get some fucking happiness in your life when it comes to this team, man. It's just Jesus, man. I mean, listen, as an Eagles fan, yes, I guess I'm a little bit excited every time you guys lose because the pick gets better, but at the same time, I'm not because it's basically the same movie. There's nothing different about this team, man. And listen, you bring Watson in, and I think you're absolutely right. What does that do? That doesn't do anything. She's not going to do anything. Like, I'm sorry, you're not going to catch Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, right? Like, no, you're not going to do that. So.
No, it's not going to happen. So that's why I'm saying is like this trade does nothing to make a case for anything other than the fact that you're either going to give the next coach Tua or you're going to give the next coach Deshaun Watson. Whose job is he saving? No one's.
Yeah. Again, I love, though, the idea of Marvin Lewis because, listen, when he had to make sure Chad Ochocinco shut the hell up. He benched.
Oh, yeah, maybe there you go. Maybe
he benched his best linebacker and Vontaze Burfict when he was doing some stupid shit. All right. He doesn't tolerate stupid shit. Right. So I think that right there is quite the fact, or at least a proven fact that, listen, if there's something stupid that a player does on the field that wears a Dolphin uniform, you rest assured in that locker room after the game or that one-on-one talk meeting going on tomorrow that it's going to be addressed, so with Marvin. But again, is that the answer?
It's not. It's part of an answer. There's a lot of little things that need to be fixed and make it all one piece of the puzzle. Marvin Lewis is not fixing this team by himself. No. He needs a GM who can evaluate talent better than Chris Greer can.
Yeah, and they need to get some first round picks in here that can actually start becoming stars.
And by the way, if you trade all by the way, Manny, if you trade away all the first round picks for the next 5 years for Watson, you don't got no first round picks. So just throwing that out there. So
the Miami Dolphins are not the Rams, which they have the luxury of doing that right now to try to win the Super Bowl, which is a totally different scenario.
Well, what I would love to do, and I really doubt this is ever going to happen. This is my dream. You get Scott McLaughlin as your GM. You get Marvin Lewis as your head coach, and then you find some half-decent offensive coordinators.
All right, so hold on. So Simba, so if Marvin Lewis is not the answer, what is the answer for you, man?
Some people are saying Jim Harbaugh again.
Jim Harbaugh is not going to leave the college ranks anymore.
No,
he had success with San Francisco, and you saw that. Trust me, that stress factor of him being an NFL head coach got to him pretty quickly in San Francisco. That's why he bolted. Like, trust me. Like, the next job that Harbaugh gets will be another college job, but it probably won't be Power 5. I'll tell you this right now. But he's not coming back in the NFL unless it's for a coordinator spot.
Everybody's saying Joe Brady, the offensive coordinator for the Panthers. Really? He's the answer, huh?
They benched Darnold today. So much for Darnold becoming elite. He benched him after a stupid interception in the first half.
The Chiefs OC, Eric Bieniemy.
But
again, the argument, the problem is, Manny, is that all these people are throwing out there. It's the same nonsense as we've had the last few times. An unexperienced offensive coordinator who's the next big thing in NFL head coaching careers. Adam Gase was that guy once. Brian Flores was that guy once. And now we're going to do the same thing again. Joe Brady, he's going to be the next guy. Obviously, he's the next superstar offensive coordinator. And yes, we are advocating for Marvin Lewis. Why? Because
at this point, I think we're just trying to find another name to add.
Manny, I'm serious. And Kai can mock me all he wants. I hope he goes in the extra yard and calls me an idiot and all the nonsensical stuff that everybody likes to call me. Because I say Marvin Lewis specifically because he found success with a meh quarterback. Okay? And that's what Miami needs right now. A quarterback a coach who doesn't need to have the elite superstar quarterback to find even the semblance of success. Seriously. That's what Miami needs right now. Marvin Lewis did it. And we keep talking about we want an experienced coach who knows what they're doing. Well, what part of that does Marvin Lewis not fit the bill? Like all these other experienced.
Apparently to Kai and Simba, we can't be advocating for Marvin Lewis in today's football.
Whatever. Marvin Lewis didn't do anything. Okay, I was going to say it again. 2012, 10-6. 2013, 11-5. 2014, 10-5 with one tie. 2015, 12-4.
Didn't really win much though.
He didn't get to the playoffs. No, he didn't win in the playoffs.
But again, that was with what? Andy Dalton.
Carson
Palmer. Right?
Yeah.
Carson Palmer.
Palmer was before that.
Jesus, I didn't know that was his record, 131 and 122.
But that's still a winning record. It's still a winning record, is it not?
Oh, my God.
And again.
I feel bad, though, for all those season ticket holders that once again got tricked into joining this season, man. The amount of money, listen, I have plenty of friends here at FIU that actually, they get games like this off. And they go to these games and they show up at 6 a.m. and they tailgate and they spend lots of money. And when I see them on Mondays, they look absolutely defeated. So I feel so bad for all you people that go through this, man, because I just don't know how you guys spend this money. How do you guys get convinced unless, damn, you really love this team, which I can see that. But, man, it's hard.
It is very hard, and I don't see why it's so ridiculous to say that go get
listen,
a coach.
Guys, stop saying Doug Peterson, dude. Listen.
Oh, okay, here we go. Yeah, here we go. This is Manny's thing right here.
Doug Peterson is an old school way of thinking. Okay, yes, we won the Super Bowl, but that's because of Frank Wright. That's because of a lot of pieces had to work together. Not to mention that, listen, Tom Brady played like shit in the first half of the Super Bowl. Thankfully, he didn't play like that in the first half because we would have not won. Doug Peterson is not the answer to this team, bro. It all starts with you having a general manager actually being able to select first-round picks and them first-round picks staying on your team and becoming stars. Not trading them after 3-4 years when the contract is coming up and it's like, well, we can trade Fulanito de Tal and get 3 first-round picks. What good does it do for you if everybody that you pick in the first round doesn't pan out? I'm just saying, you can't build a football team that way, man. Listen. You got to give Ross some credit, right? He went out there back in the day and he signed Sue. He signed these big time names. I want to get the free agency splash player. I want to be able to put Miami, on the map for NFL.
Oh, you remember earlier this offseason when everybody was screaming and shouting because they hadn't signed any big free agent names, and then they signed Will Fuller and all the screaming stopped? Like instantly stopped.
I was one of
Instantly.
those because I listen, in all honesty, I saw Will Fuller becoming that deep threat because, no offense, Parker to me wasn't that deep threat. Gesicki's game hadn't yet evolved until this year. All of a sudden, he's getting a quarterback that knows how to throw him the football up here, right? Not here, up here. But again, you draft Jalen Waddle, and I didn't see a single bomb throw to him,
All right.
again today.
Manny, can I point this out real quick? I'm just going to pull up this coach.
Yeah.
Inexperienced head coaches can succeed, especially offensive ones with a top QB. Not 100%, but a historic mediocre coach ain't it. Okay, sure. So let's go with that. Let's see. Joe Burrow in Cincinnati.
Ooh,
Zach Taylor is a garbage head coach. Garbage.
Yeah.
But nobody's calling for his head. You know why? Because Burrow is so special.
W's.
Jamar Chase is so special. Let me tell you something. So does that make Zach Taylor a good head coach? Really? Really?
If you build it, they will come. Stop being hard.
If you build it, they will come. Yes, go get Deshaun Watson. Everybody will want to be the head coach for Deshaun Watson because Watson will make them look good for a little bit, but they ultimately will fail because everything else on the team sucks. That's why the Houston Texans never got to win the chip with Watson around. That's the big difference
when
maker.
it comes to Watson, man, listen, a lot of people on FiveR know how I feel. I have a daughter. I don't want to touch the subject. Listen, on the football field, it sounds amazing, right?
There's no argument for Watson as a football player. I am never going to sit here and say that Tua is better than Watson as a football player, ever. My argument has always been the off the field stuff. Always.
Simba, we're not talking about his record. We're just saying that the amount of things that he had to deal with in Cincinnati, basically not having, what you call Carson Palmer and Andy Dalton and elite people. No, but he still had a good, solid defense, and he had this team actually battling for the division every single year. I'm not saying he's the answer, but having said that, though, when you say, well, Tony Dungy didn't win anything, and his record was mediocre in Tampa Bay, but then he goes to Indianapolis, they draft Peyton Manning, they already have Peyton Manning, Andrew James, Dallas Clark. It's like, and guess what? He ends up, I'm sorry, not Andrew James, Jesus Christ. What is it? Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne, Dallas Clark. Like, he ends up bringing his style onto that team, and they end up winning a Super Bowl and all this other stuff. So maybe with a coach having their second opportunity somewhere else, that also can work. We've seen it happen. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I'm sure Colts fans were like, oh, why are we bringing in Tony Dungy? Like, what the hell? Like, no, like he didn't win the big one, right?
Jim Harbaugh didn't win the big one. We love Jim Harbaugh got there with Colin Kaepernick, and then it never got back.
Yeah,
again.
so
never got there again.
Jim Harbaugh's coaching mentality, we're going to pound the football. They didn't run it the last 3 plays inside the 5 against the Ravens. So that right there he dug his own grave. So I'm going to say.
So again, you can look at literally any coaching candidate out there and you can point out why this is not the savior. But that's the problem. You're looking for a savior. There is no savior. It's not going to happen. There is no superstar come down from heaven and save the football team. This is a situation that every little piece needs to be fixed one part at a time. Marvin Lewis is not the solution to the problem. Marvin Lewis could be part of the solution to the problem. Marvin Lewis could be somebody that can bring in, okay, Marvin Lewis is a respected head coach. I know him very well. I can bring in this guy. You can work for me. And this guy, you can come and work for me. And that's not going to be the issue. And so with that in mind, you can build a staff under the respected name that is Marvin Lewis. Mike McCarthy, I don't think is a good head coach, but he managed to pull in Dan Quinn to run the Cowboys defense.
And they look
because everybody knows Mike McCarthy. Everybody knows Marvin Lewis. Everybody knows Marvin Lewis. And not only that, I hesitate to even go here because this is a big deal. Marvin Lewis is a minority coach. We keep talking about how these guys never get a chance to prove themselves and how they get unfair criticism. I think Marvin Lewis, out of all these guys, especially more than Mike McCarthy, I'll say that too.
He deserves another chance. Marvin Lewis, and that guy's gonna hang me.
I'm Marvin Lewis. I
think for next week's post game, I'm gonna put Marvin Lewis on the thumbnail.
I believe that if you're looking for a head coach with experience, who has experience winning games, not playoffs, winning games with a quarterback.
Mm-hmm. I think though what you mentioned a couple of weeks ago, and also what Husam just mentioned, when you look at Arizona with Kings Kingsbury, right? Is that his name?
Yes, Cliff Kingsbury.
Cliff or Kings or whatever. He actually surrounded himself with coaches that have been NFL head coaches in the freaking league, right? Because he's not gonna go in there and get his high school buddies or his guys from Texas Tech. Hey, you guys want to follow me, into the NFL? Which is the issue that I have right now with my Eagles. You're bringing in Nick Sirianni, who's only coached basically one position his entire time, and he brought over all these position coaches that have never ever had any head coaching jobs.
Kind of like Miami, huh?
Huh?
Kind of like Miami.
Yeah, kind of like Miami. And it's like, well, hey, listen, we're all learning on the job. Bro, this is not NCAA, man. This is the National Football League. You can't be learning. You gotta be able to surround yourself with people that are gonna give you advice, right? Oh shit, well, I didn't make a 3rd and 1. Coach, you've done this before plenty of times. How would you approach this? What would have you done differently? Right?
That's how you afford learning on the job. That's how you afford being able to make those mistakes.
When Tua has to sit there and hear 3 voices, then he has to go upstairs to Coach Flo, right? I'm sorry, man. If I had 4 bosses, I don't know what the hell to do. And then I'm dealing with Watson talk. Oh, get me out of here. I'm sorry, dude.
I'd want out. Like, please get me out of here. That's what I would want. But anyway, we've been going at it long enough. I might write a column about this. I'm just going to be honest to God about it. So we'll see. But anyway, there's no further thoughts I have on this whole thing. I've made my case. Everybody's going to call me an idiot, and I know that, and I accept that because I appreciate it. I honestly like it because I think I have some merit.
You are not an idiot. You just have your opinion, just like everybody else does. But listen,
I know I'm not an idiot. I think I'm pretty smart with this.
Neither me, neither Kai, neither Simba. We don't even know what the hell's going to do. And guess what? We can do a damn thing about it.
Nope.
Because who knows? Greer and Flo might be stuck at the hip for the next 5 years or so. And it's not going to matter, man.
We'll see. We'll see. Anyway, so big thank you once again to Thrive Fantasy, our sponsors for this show. Make sure you can go ahead and check them out. The 10 out of the available 20 players available. Pick the over under and let's see how well you do. At worst, you'll probably just get your money back. But if you win big. So anyway, thank you all so much for joining us, and we will see you all next time.